ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
पर्यन्तां
वन्दे
वन्दे
परम्पराम्।
गुरुपरम्पराम्।
ॐ
ॐ
सहना भवतु
सहना भवतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
वीर्यं
अवीर्यं
करवावहै
करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
विद्विषावहै।
विद्विषावहै।
शान्ति
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ तत्सत् ॐ नमः शिवाय गुड मॉर्निंग हरि ओम।
हरि ओम्।
So in the last class we saw that from samashti prana emerges vyashti prana, and therefore everybody and everything is classified as prana. So he had said prano hi pita, prano hi mata, prano bhrata, prana swasa, prana acharya, prana brahmana. So in short, prana is everything, is the padana karanam of the jagat, and therefore prana alone is the karana of the jagat. Now he continues in the next mantra some more ideas about prana. So we will chant the mantra number 2, 7th chapter, 15th section. So please unmute yourself. Sayadi pitaram va mataram va
स यदि पितरं
यदि
परं
पितरं
वा
वा
मातरं
मातरं
वा
वा
भ्रातरं वा स्वसारं वा
मातरं
भ्रातरं
भ्रातरं
वा
वा
स्वसारं
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 वा
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 आचार्यं वा ब्राह्मणं वा
आचार्यं
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 वा
वा
ब्राह्मणं
ब्रह्मणं
वा
वा
ब्राह्मणं वा
किञ्चित् भ्रशमीव प्रत्याह
किञ्चित्
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 शमेव
यद्विषमेव
प्रत्याह
भृशमीव
प्रत्याह
प्रत्याह
रिक्तास्त्विति
वित्त्वा
धिक्त्वा
वास्त्विति
स्थिति
स्थितिः
धिक्त्वास्त्विति
धिक्त्वा
वित्त्वा
धिक्त्वा
स्थिति
स्वीति
एवैनम् आहुः
एवैनम्
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 आहुः
आहुः
पित्रः वै त्वमसि मात्रः
पितृः
पितृः
वै
पितृः वै
त्वमसि
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 मातृः
मातृः
मातृ
वै त्वमसि भ्रातरः
वै
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 तमसि
त्वमसि
त्वमसि
भ्रातरः
भ्रातृः
भ्रातरः
वै त्वमसि स्वस्रः वै वसस्वः
वै
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 त्वमसि
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 वत्सः
स्वस्रः
वत्सः
वै त्वमसि आचार्यः
वै
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 त्वमसि
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 आचार्यः
आचार्यः
आचार्याः
वै त्वमसि ब्राह्मणः
वै
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 त्वमसि
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 ब्राह्मणः
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 वै त्वमसि इति.
वै
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 त्वमसि
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 इति
इति
So he's saying that since prana is the karanam for everything and prana alone is appearing as mata, pita, guru, etc., you should be in your behavior with all these people, there should be proper respect. Why? Because if you disrespect any of these people, you are disrespecting the very karanam, prana itself. So he says, Sayadi pitaram va mataram va prataram va swasaram acharyam va brahmanam. To the father, the mother, the brother, the sister, the acharya, or the wise person, the brahmana, if to any one of these people, kinchit brishamiva pratyaha, one talks even a very mildly rudely, even very little rudely if you talk, without respect if you talk. So this can also include things like answering back, without thinking. Sometimes when elders talk to us or brothers talk to us, we retort back at them. So this can include all that. So kinchit brishamiva pratyaha. If you talk even a little rudely without respect, then diktva spiti evainam ahu. Diktva, that has to be broken up properly. Diktva astu iti. Diktva stviti. Diktva stvati is broken up into diktva astu iti. Diktva means shame. So shame upon you. Diktva astu iti. May there be shame upon you. Eva enam aha. This is what these people say. Enam here refers to elders. So if you talk to any of these people without respecting them, then there is shame upon you. This is what the elders say. And it is a very big sin. And he gives the equivalent sins. Pitraha vai tamasi. It is like you killing your father. Matraha vai tamasi. It's like you killing a mother. And this is to be extended, of course. Bhratraha tamasi. Swasraha vai tamasi. Acharya vai tamasi. Brahmanaha vai tamasi iti. So it is equivalent to killing all these people. Bhratraha, brother. Swasraha, sister. Acharyaha, guru. And Brahmanaha, wise and learned people. Brahmins. So the idea is that prana is great, is very superior. And because of that prana alone, all these people, mother, father, guru, sister, brother, they are all to be respected because of that prana alone. And in this respect, it is pertinent to understand that as long as there is prana in a person, that person is capable of being respected. You know, I don't know if you remember. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe, tavat prichhati kushalam gehe. Katavati vayo deha paye, bharya bhipyati tasmin kaye. Where did that come from?
Bhaja Govindam.
Bhaja Govindam. As long as there is life in the body, everybody comes and asks you about your welfare. Gatavati vayo deha paye. When the life is gone from the body, bharya bhibyat tasmin kaya. Even the wife who is to respect that body very much is now bhibyati, afraid of that body. The wife also doesn't like to go near the body. So prana is all there is. Then we go to the next mantra, 7:15:3. We will chant. अथ यद् अथ यदप्येनान्
अथ
अथ
यद्यप्येनान्
यद्यप्येनाम्
उत्क्रान्तप्राणान्
उत्क्रान्तप्राणान्
प्राणान्
शूलेन समासम्
शूलेन
समासम्
व्यतिषन्देहत्
व्यतिषन्देह
व्यतिषन्ति हत्
न वैनं ब्रूयुः
न
न
वैनं
वैनं ब्रूयुः
पितृहासीति न
पितृहासीति
मातृहासीति न
मातृहासीति न
भ्रातृहासीति न
मातृहासीति न
स्वस्रहासीति न
स्वस्रहासीति न
नाचार्यहासीति
न चार्यासीति
आचार्यासीति
न ब्रह्मणासीति.
न
न
ब्राह्मणासीति
ब्राह्मणासीति.
So the idea of Bhajagovindam is being extended. So as long as prana is there, all these people are worthy of respect and you are supposed to fall at their feet and touch their feet. You know, all these rituals are there. But when prana is gone, when you burn the body, it is not considered a sin. It's not considered hinsa. As long as prana is there, the body is sacred. Of all these people, you have to respect them. You have to fall at their feet. You have to give them respect. But when the prana goes away, when that person dies, the body is consigned to the flames. And that burning of the body is not considered violence at all. It's not considered hinsa. So he says, ataha. On the other hand, yadyapi yenan utkranta pranan. When the time comes, when the prana of these people, utkrantaha, has gone, then shulena samasam vyatishan dehatahet. So this is, you know, shula is a uh, very sharp instrument, a long iron rod. And this basically this particular portion is a reference, can be thought of as a reference to you know mass burnings after tragedy, for example, when a lot of people are being, a lot of bodies are being burnt. Then to separate the bodies, what do you do on the funeral pyre when it is burning? You can use a big sharp rod to separate the bodies. You can also think of this as when the body burns. I don't know how many of you have been to a place, not the electric crematoriums, but the traditional one where body burns on wood. So there is a long instrument used to turn the body occasionally so that it burns evenly. So that is being referred to. That sharp instrument, literally spear, actually it means shula. So it's used to turn the bodies on the pyre. Okay. And when you do this, so when you have taken the instrument and you are turning the body, it appears very disrespectful. But na naivenam bruyuhu, na eva enam bruyuhu. The elders do not scold you, they do not reprimand you, they do not tell you that you are doing a bad thing. And not only that, pitra asiti, na matra asiti, na bhratra asiti, na swasatha asiti, na acharya asiti, na brahmana iti. You are not considered that. Ha is the term for killing. So naha, na pitraha, you are not the killer of the father. Na matraha, you are not the killer of the mother. Na bhatraha, you are not the killer of the brother, and so on. So the elders do not consider you as being the killer because the body is already dead. And what you are doing is a ritual. You are consigning the body to the flames. So navainam bruyuhu. The elders do not respect, do not give you any scolding. They don't tell you you're also doing something wrong. Right? And another aspect of this, some parts, even of a person when he's alive, some parts are taken care of only when it is directly associated with prana, with the live body. Once that part is removed from the body, it is considered unclean, asaucham. Can you think of any such parts?
Hair.
Hair is one. Normally, you will, give a lot of respect to your hair, go to the beauty parlor. But if the hair is lying on the ground, what happens? You just roll it up and throw it
Even
away,
the
right?
nails.
Even the nails, and for that matter, even the teeth, right? So you don't brush the teeth which is fallen out of your body. So once detached from the body, means once the connection with prana is broken, they are not worthy of respect. Same idea is being conveyed here. Once the connection of prana with the body is broken, whether it be father, mother, brother, sister, even your guru, or wise people, brahmanas, then that dead container doesn't deserve any respect and is consigned or dealt with in accordance with all the all the instructions of the scriptures. Okay. Now, among all these upasanas, which upasana is the greatest? That is being talked about. Next mantra, fourth mantra, 15th section. Prano haiva etani sarvani bhavati.
प्राणो हैव
Prano
वैतानि
हैवानि
सर्वाणि
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 भवति
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 स वा एष एवं पश्यन्
स वा
स वा
एष
एष
एवं
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 पश्यन्
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 एवं मन्वान्
एवं
एवं
मन्वान्
मन्वान्
एवं विजानन्
एवं
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 विजानन्
विजानन्
अतिवादि भवति तं चेत् ब्रूयुः
अतिवादि
अतिवादि भवति
भवति
तं
तं चेत्
चेदब्रुः
ब्रूयुः
युः
So that's, I don't know how it is coming in your texts. Tam chet bruyuhu. Ativadi bhavati tam chet bruyuhu.
अतिवादी
अतिवादि
अतिवादी
अतिवादी
भवति
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 तं
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 चेत्
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 ब्रूयुः।
ब्रूयुः
Ativadyasiti.
अतिवाद्यसीति।
अतिवाद्यसीति
Ativadyasmiti.
अतिवाद्यस्मीति।
अतिवाद्यस्मीति
Bruyat.
ब्रूयात्
ब्रूयात्
Napnuhit.
आप्नुहि।
नाप्नुहि
Napnuhit.
नाप्नुहि
Okay, so among these, how many upasanas we have done so far? 15 of them. Among these, Hiranyagarbha upasana is the greatest. Why? Because Hiranyagarbha is actually is evident to me as what? As the prana in all living beings. Right? Hiranyagarbha is the life in all living beings. And while you can say that I know that other living beings are alive, that is only an inference. But the fact that you are alive, that is anumanam or pratyaksham.
प्रत्यक्षम्
It's pratyaksham.
Because you don't need a fact. Anumanam is an inference, right? How do you infer that the person in front of you is alive?
See if he is breathing.
We see him breathe, we hear
You
him.
see him breathe, you hear him talk, you hear him eat, you hear him shout at you if he's your spouse. So that is inference that this fellow is alive, right? But that inference you don't need as far as you are concerned, because you know that I am conscious and I exist and I'm conscious, you know. So that I am alive is Swata Siddha. It is an already evident fact. I don't need it to be inferred. Mhm. And therefore, when I invoke, when I do the meditation, and when I invoke Samashti Prana on myself, so I am Vyashti Prana, right? I am the micro prana. When I invoke the macro prana, Samashti Prana, what are you doing? I'm invoking Hiranyagarbha on myself, right? So when you invoke Lord Shiva on the lingam, right? Prana Pratishtha. You have installed the lingam by doing the prana pratishtha, the invocation. Right? And therefore, for you, that lingam is Lord Shiva. And therefore, when you invoke that samashti prana on yourself, remember you have become Hiranyagarbha after the invocation. Right? And therefore, a person who says this, that I am Hiranyagarbha, that person is a good speaker, a greatest speaker, a speaker who has understood what he is saying. And this person is called Ativadi over here. We should carefully remember that in Mundaka Upanishad also, the word Ativadi was used. In what sense? You can remember. In Mundaka, the word Ativadi was used in a derogatory sense, a person who is talking too much. Right? And therefore, here it is not that. Here the Ativadi is in a very positive sense. And the person who speaks is a good speaker who has understood what he is saying. And therefore he says, Prano haiva etani sarvani bhavati. Prana alone is the form of all these beings. Etani sarvani. Sarvani is what? All the beings referred to. Mata, Pita, Bhrata, all those things, right? And Sava Esha Evam Pashyan Evam Manavan. Evam Vijanan Ativadi Bhavati. The one who Sava Esham Evam Pashyan. The one who sees in this manner, Evam Manvan, who thinks in this manner, Evam Vijanan, and who understands in this manner, Ativadi Bhavati, he becomes a great speaker. He becomes an honorable person. And Tam Ched Bruyuhu Ativadya Siti. People honor him by saying you are a Ativadi. And If they do, chet tam bruyu, if people say Ativadyasyiti, you are a great speaker, you are a great person, you understand what you are saying, then what should he do? Ativadyasmiti bruyat. He can say, yes, I am Ativadi. Ativadi, that breakup is Ativadi asmi iti bruyat. Yes, I am Ativadi. You can declare. And napnuhivan. So apnuhivan is to decline. Right? So napnuhivan is to decline. So no, apnuhivan. He need not decline that title. He need not tell people, no, no, I am not a Ativadi. I am really speaking, I am the person who has understood everything. What have I understood? Sava esha eva pasyan. I have understood what the Shruti says. I think in that manner and have completely assimilated what Shruti says. I know that I am Hiranyagarbha. And therefore, when I say I am Hiranyagarbha, I am not boasting. I am saying what I am convinced about. Therefore, he says, he can say, yes, I am Ativa. At this point, I mean, the part of the story, at this point, Narada stops asking any further questions. Okay. Why? When the student stops asking questions, what does it mean?
He has assimilated the teaching.
He has understood, right? Now, what has Sanat Kumara actually taught right now in the last couple of mantras?
The value of prana, importance.
Prano heva etani sarvani bhavati.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you think that prana is etani sarvani, is everything, and then you stop asking questions, what is your understanding? Because remember,
Prana is the ultimate.
that
There is nothing
Prana is Brahman is the understanding.
nothing beyond it. Yeah.
Now the point is Prana Brahman.
No.
No.
Prana here is what? Hiranyagarbha, right? Samashti
Yeah.
Prana.
A born
Right?
entity. Yeah.
That is not Brahman.
Yes. It's not.
Unfortunately, Narada has taken it as Brahman. So then what happens? Sanat Kumara decides to teach further. Right? This doesn't happen. In Shastra, what is the rule? Unless you ask. And that is why in every sloka, every mantra, you would see that he says, please teach me further. But now he has not asked. And therefore, normally, that is the end of the teaching. As you saw in Bhagavad Gita also, when Arjuna stopped asking questions, Krishna stopped talking. Normally, that indicates the end of the teaching. But here, Sanat Kumar decides to teach further. So, what is that? Indicating it's a very important role in Shastra. If the student is a deserving student, and if he has put in effort, so all the 15 mantras so far is showing that Narada has put in the necessary effort. So if the student is a deserving student, and if the teacher thinks that the student has put in effort, and if the teacher feels that the understanding is not complete, even if the student doesn't ask any further question, the teacher must teach the student so that his misunderstanding goes away. Very, very important rule. Always teach the student, ensure that his understanding is correct, provided, of course, he has put in an effort. You can't, this rule does not apply to the initial part where the student comes and says something and goes away or doesn't understand. If he has put in sufficient effort and his misunderstanding is genuine one, then the teacher must, you know, say something or explain further and make sure that he understands. This is the rule. So the general rule is what? Do not teach unless asked. Exceptional rule is if the student is deserving, if he has put in sufficient effort, even if he does not ask, you must voluntarily teach. Iti Panchadasha Khandaha. The 15th section is also over. Now we look at Shodasha Khandaha, 16th section, Mantra 1, 7:16:1. So please unmute yourself. This is Sanat Kumara teaching without any further question being asked. एष तु वा अतिवादति sorry एष तु वा अतिवदति
एष तु वा
एषतु वा
अतिवदति
अतिवदति
यः सत्येन अतिवदति
यः
सत्येन अतिवदति
सोऽहं भगवः सत्येन
सोऽहं
सोऽहं
भगवसत्येन
भगवसत्येन
अतिवदानीति
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 सत्यं त्वेव
सत्यं
सत्यं त्वेव
विजिज्ञासितव्यम् इति
जिज्ञासितव्यम्
जिज्ञासितव्यमिति
सत्यं भगवो
सत्यं भगवो
विजिज्ञास इति
विजिज्ञास इति
So, tu. This is Sanat Kumara. Tu. Tu means but. But, hey Narada, really speaking, Esha tuva ativadati. Eshaha, that person alone is the real ativadi. Who is what? What? Yaha satyena ativadati. The one who talks about Satyam Brahma. Okay. Why is he saying this? Because earlier on, the understanding that Narada had when Sanat Kumara was teaching about prana was that the person who understood that Samashti prana, Hiranyagarbha, he is, that I am Hiranyagarbha, he is the Ativadi. And now Sanat Kumara wants to dispel that idea. So he says, no, Narada, that person alone is the Ativadi, Satyena Ativadati, who talks about Satyam Brahman and not about Hiranyagarbha. This is the teaching. Then Narada responds, Soham Bhagavaha Satyena Ativadaniti. Oh Lord, I want to become such a Satyam Ativadi. Soham Bhagava Satyena Ativadani iti. I want to become that Satyam Ativadi. So what does Sant Kumara say? Satyam Tveva Vijignyasitavyam iti. In that case, if you want to become Satyam Ativadi, you should know about Satyam Brahma. Vijignyasitavyam iti. Satyam Vijignyasitavyam. You should know about Satyam Brahma. And then Narada says, Satyam Bhagavo Vijigyasa iti. Please teach me, O Bhagwan, about that Satyam Brahma. With this, the 16th section is over. So we'll go to the Saptadasha Khanda, 17th section, first mantra. Yada vai vijanati
यदा वै
विजानाति
अथ सत्यं वदति
अथ
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 सत्यं
सत्यं
वदति
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 नाभिजानन् सत्यं वदति
नाभिजानन् सत्यं
नाभिजानन्
वदति
सत्यं वदति
विजानन् एव सत्यं वदति
विजानन्
विज्ञानन्
जानन्
एव
एव
सत्यं
सत्यं
वदति
वदति
विज्ञानं त्वेव
विज्ञानं
ज्ञानं
त्वेव
त्वेव
विजिज्ञासितव्यम् इति
विजिज्ञासितव्यम् इति
जिज्ञासितव्यमिति
विज्ञानं भगवो
विज्ञानं भगवो
भगवो
विजिज्ञास इति
विजिज्ञास
विजिज्ञास
इति
इति
So if you want to talk about some particular subject, you should have the knowledge about the subject. So what did Narada say? I want to become an Ativadi, a person who talks extensively about Brahman. And therefore, Sanat Kumara says, to talk about that Brahma, Satyam Brahman, you should have knowledge about Satyam Brahman. And so he says, Yada vai vijanati atha Satyam vadati. One who has the knowledge of Satyam Brahma, he alone can talk about the Satyam. And na vijanan Satyam Vadati, without that knowledge, he cannot talk about Satyam Brahma. And he reinforces that Vijanan eva Satyam Vadati. Only after the knowledge can you talk about Satyam Brahma. Vijnanam tveva vijignyasitavyam iti. Therefore, you should acquire knowledge. Right? So first, he talked about Satyam Brahma. Then he says, to talk about Satyam Brahma, you need knowledge. Therefore, acquire the knowledge. And then Narada says, Vijnanam Bhagavo Vijignyasa iti. Please teach me that knowledge about Satyam Brahma. Now we go to the 18th Khandaha, 18th
So,
section.
Acharyaji, in terms of this, you are Ativadi.
Not yet. Okay. So, Ashtadasha Khandaha. Yada vai manute
यदा वै
Manute
atha vijanati
अथ
अथ
विजानाति
विजानाति
na amatva vijanati
नामत्वा
मत्वा
नामत्वा
विजानाति
विजानाति
athvaiva vijanati
मत्वैव
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 विजानाति
जानाति
विजानाति
matistveva vijignasatavyam iti
मतिस्त्वं
मतिस्त्वेव
विजिज्ञासितव्यमिति
विजिज्ञासितव्येति
इति
matim bhagavo
मतिं
मतिं
भगवो
भगवो
vijignasa iti.
विजिज्ञास
विजिज्ञास
इति
इति
So you should, very carefully watch the progression. First we came to Hiranyagarbha. Then Narada thought that Hiranyagarbha is the ultimate reality, so he kept quiet. Then Sanat Kumara told him that you have to inquire into Brahman also, Satyam Brahma also. Then he said, I want to inquire of Satyam Brahman. And then for that, the teacher said, you need the knowledge. Then he said, I want the knowledge. Then, if you want the knowledge, what should you do? That is what is said here. Yada vai manute, only if you inquire into Shastram. Atha vijanati, you can have the knowledge. Na amatva vijanati. The one who does not inquire, one who does not look into Shastram, the one who does not study Shastram from a teacher can never know. All very important mantras. Because there is Yoga Shastra, which says that you can get knowledge in meditation. You can get moksha in samadhi. So this is Shastric idea. Upanishad itself saying that meditation will not produce any knowledge at all. Why? Because during samadhi, you are not picking inquiry. Your mind itself is not available. Where is the question of inquiry? Right? In japa, your mind is focused on the sound alone. Where is the question of inquiry? So he says, Matvaiva Vijanati. So you can bring that into Matva Eva Vijanati. Matva means by inquiring, by study. By inquiry alone, you can get the knowledge. And therefore, Sanat Kumara says, Matisveva Vijignyasitavya eti. Vijignyasitavya eti. Matihi tu eva Vijignyasitavya iti. The break. Matihi tu eva Vijignyasitavya iti. You should therefore know what is Vedantic inquiry. What is the study of Shruti? And Matim Bhagavo Vijignyasa iti. Please teach me this Matihi, O Lord. Then we go to the 19th section. Ekona Vimshaha Khandaha. The first mantra we will chant. Yada vai Shaddadhati
यदा
यदा
वै
वै
श्रद्धधाति
श्रद्धधाति
अथ मनुते
अथ
अथ मनुते
मनुते
अथ मनुते
न श्रद्धधन्मनुते
नाश्रद्धमनुते
नाश्रद्धन्मनुते
मनुते
श्रद्धदेव मनुते
श्रद्धदेव
श्रद्धदेव मनुते
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 श्रद्धात्वेव
Shraddha
Shraddhatveva
Vijignasitavyeti.
Vijijñāsitavyeti
Vijignāsitavyeti
Shraddham Bhagavo Vijignasa iti.
Shraddham
Shraddham
Bhagavo
Bhagavo
Vijignāsa
Vijijñāsa
iti
iti
So simple Sanskrit, I think you can all follow. Yada vai Shraddhathati athamanute. So when will a person inquire into Shastram? When will he come to the Guru and say that I want to study Shastram? Only when he has Shraddha. So yada vai Shraddhathati. When he has Shastram, athamanute, then only he will inquire. Then only he will study the Shastram. And na Shraddhadhan manute, the one who has no Shraddha will not inquire. Shraddhad eva manute. It's a reinforcement. Only the one who has Shraddha will inquire. Shraddhatveva vijignasitavya eti. You should therefore know about Shraddha. And Shraddham Bhagavo Vijignasa eti. Please teach me about Shraddha. So the progress is there. Slowly is coming to the progress. That for having the inquiry, for having the knowledge, you should have the inquiry. For getting the inquiry, you should have Shraddha in scriptures because the teaching is available only in the scriptures. And there's a 20th section now. Vimshakhandaha, mantra number 1. Yada vai nistishtati
यदा वै
यदा वै
तिष्ठति
निष्ठति
ata shraddhadhati
अथ
अथ
श्रद्धदाति
श्रद्धदाति
na anistishtan shraddhadhati
नानिस्तिष्ठन् श्रद्धदाति
na anistishtan shraddhadhati
न
न
अनिस्तिष्ठन्
अनिस्तिष्ठन् श्रद्धदाति
श्रद्धदाति
nistishthaneva shraddhadhati
निस्तिष्ठन्नेव श्रद्धदाति
Shraddhadati
nishtha tveva vijignasitavyeti
निष्ठादेव जिज्ञासा
Vijignāsitavyeti
इति
nishtam bhagavo vijignasa iti.
निष्ठा
Nishtam Bhagavo
भगवो
Vijignāsa
जिज्ञासा इति
iti
Okay, so having talked about Shraddha, one would think the story is over, right? But he says, Yada vai nistishtati ata shabdathati. You can have Shraddha only when there is nishtha. And na anistishtan shabdathati. If you have no nishtha, you cannot have Shraddha. Then nistishtaneiva shabdathati. Only if you have nishtha can you have Shraddha. So it's the same idea being repeated, reinforced. And therefore, nishthatveva vijignasitavya iti. You must therefore understand what is nishtha, O Narada. So what is nishtha is the question, right? Because what does nishtha mean?
consistency or
Brahma nishtha. What does it mean?
you're constantly thinking
Yes.
about
Always in Brahma.
You are constantly dwelling on something. So there is a commitment, right? So nishtha is the commitment here. And Shankara gives his commentary here, which is very important. He says nishtha has to be taken as Guru Shushrusavadi Paratvam. Service towards the Acharya, the respect for the Acharya. And of course, here we have to add respect for Acharya comes why? So whenever we say Acharya, Guru Deva Bhavaha, Acharya Deva Bhavaha, why is he like a Deva?
because he's giving the teachings.
He's giving us the jnanam or the
Yeah,
teaching.
the Acharya is an Acharya only because of Shastram. So the Acharya has no, standing of his own. His entire standing comes from Shastra. So if you have respect for the Acharya, you have respect for the Shastra. The other way around, actually. If you have respect for Shastram, then only will you have respect for Acharya. Therefore, he says you must have the commitment to come to the Acharya, pay respects to him and the Shastram. And then he says, Narada says, Nishtham Bhagavo Vijignyasa iti. Please teach me about that nishtha, O Lord. This is the 19th khanda is over. Sorry, 20th khanda is over. And we go to Ekavimsha khanda, the 21st section. So we will chant. First mantra. Yada vai karoti
यदा वै
यदा वै
करोति
करोति
अथ निस्तिष्ठति
अथ
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 निष्ठति
निष्ठति
न कृत्वा निस्तिष्ठति
न
न
नाकृत्वा
कृत्वा
कृत्वा
निष्ठति
निष्ठति
कृत्वैव निस्तिष्ठति
कृत्वैव
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 निष्ठति
निष्ठति
कृतिस्त्वेव विज्ञासितव्य एति
कृतिस्त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्येति
विजिज्ञासितव्येति
कृतिं भगवो विजिज्ञास इति
कृतिं
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 भगवो
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 विजिज्ञास
विजिज्ञास
विजिज्ञासिति
इति
यदा वै करोति अथ निस्तिष्ठति कृतिम. So he says that nishtha is possible only when there is self-discipline present. So kritva. So his kriti is the word he's using. And kritim, of course, just means to do, right? So that is not the correct meaning. We have to look at what Shankara says. So Shankara says kritim has to be taken as indriya sanyamya chitta ekagrata adi anushthana. Very, very important word. Indriya sanyamya. Control over the indriyas. So that is what is it called? Dhamma. Right? Dhamma should be there. Chittam ekagrata adi. Ekagrata should be there. Anushtanam is the practice of the constant practice of self-discipline is necessary. Only if that is there, you will have nishtha. So only when Dhamma is there, you will have nishtha. And therefore he says, Nakritva nistishtati. The one who does not have this kritim, this self-discipline, can never get the nishtha. And kritveva nistishtati. Kriti alone will give you nishtha. Therefore, kritistveva vijnasitavya iti. Therefore, you should learn about kriti, self-discipline. And Narada says, please teach me, O Bhagavan. The 22nd section now, mantra number 1. All very, very small sections. Yada vai sukham labhate
यदा वै
यदा
सुखं
सुखं
लभते
लभते
करोति न असुखम लब्ध्वा करोति
अथ
अथ
करोति न
करोति न
सुखं
सुखं
लब्ध्वा
लब्ध्वा
करोति
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 सुखमेव लब्ध्वा करोति
सुखमेव
सुखम् एव
सुखमेव
लब्ध्वा
लब्ध्वा
करोति
करोति
सुखम त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्यम् इति
सुखं त्वेव
सुखं
सुखं
त्वैव
त्वेव
विजिज्ञासितव्यमिति
विजिज्ञासितव्यमिति
सुखम भगवो विजिज्ञास इति
सुखं
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 भगवो
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 विजिज्ञास
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 इति
इति
So a very nice mantra. Yada vai sukham labate atha karoti. Yada vai sukham labate. Only when you are happy in all these stages of sadhana. You are doing it happily. You are saying it, this is for my benefit, and therefore I'm happy to do it. Only when a person sees ananda in all these stages of sadhana, atha karoti, can you have self-discipline. A resentful study is not going to give you any self-discipline at all. Na asukham labdva karoti. If you are not happy in studying scriptures, then that discipline can never come. And sukham eva labdva karoti. Only if you are happy can this self-discipline come to you. And therefore you must learn about sukham. And sukham bhagavo vijignyasayati. Please teach me, O Lord. So Trayovimsa Khandaha, the 23rd Khandaha, 23rd section, very, very important section. The first mantra. From this mantra begins the main teaching. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham
यो वै भूमा तत्सुखम्
तत्सुखम्
नाल्पे सुखमस्ति
नाल्पे
नाल्पे
सुखमस्ति
सुखमस्ति
भूमैव सुखं भूमा
भूमैव
भूमैव सुखं
सुखम्
भूमा
त्वैव विजिज्ञासितव्य इति
त्वेव
विजिज्ञासितव्य
विजिज्ञासितव्य
इति
इति
भूमान् भगवो विजिज्ञास इति.
भूमानं
भूमानं
भगवो
भगवो
विजिज्ञास
विजिज्ञास
इति
इति.
So what was the question? Please teach me about Ananda. Please teach me about Sukham. And what is Sukham? What is Ananda? Nothing but Brahman itself, Satchitananda. So this section has a name which you must remember. It is called Bhuma Vidya. It is the main teaching of Chandogya, Bhuma Vidya. Okay. So Narada's question is, what is that Sukham? And Sanat Kumara is replying to this question. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. So bhuma is a word which means infinite. That which is infinite, that is sukham. So he's now coming to the main teaching. Bhuma is Brahman. And here we are talking about sukham. Therefore, the Ananda Swarupam of Brahman is being discussed. Okay. Then Brahman is Ananda itself. You must remember, Brahman is Ananda itself. You should not think that Brahman is happy. Brahman has Ananda is not the correct understanding. Brahman is Ananda. Brahman is the happiness principle itself, the Ananda principle itself. So he says, Yo vai bhuma tatsukam. That which is infinite, that itself is Ananda. And na alpe sukhamasti. Very, very important idea. Whatever is finite, alpaha, na sukhamasti. You will never find Ananda there. So remember, this is Swarupa Ananda is talking about. It is not that you don't get Ananda from finite things, right? I get Ananda from strawberry ice cream, which is very finite, right? So this is not reflected Ananda, experiential Ananda that we're talking about. This is Swarupa Ananda. So while you must understand that you do get reflected happiness from material finite things, here Vedanta is saying that no alpa vastu can give you sukham, really speaking. Therefore, you have to understand this word as all the ananda that you get from finite things is not sukham, it is sukha abhasa. It is figurative sukham only. Right? And that is why you will find that any sukham you get is subject to the law of diminishing returns. The first Cadbury chocolate gives you a lot of ananda. The second one, immediately after that, a little less. The third one, the fourth one, after the fifth one, what happens?
You don't want to look
You
at it.
no
You
longer
don't want to look at chocolates
You no
also.
longer. Yeah.
This is what is meant by saying sukha abhasa. If it was real sukham, that you will never want it to go away. But this is figurative sukham. And therefore, we have to apply this idea of happiness to the mind. The five properties which we said for consciousness and existence, you have to apply it for ananda also. Though normally we don't discuss, but here it is discussed. So what are they? Ananda is not a property or a product or a part of the mind. Right? When the mind has got three specific thoughts, Priya, Moda, Pramoda, it is said to be happy in different levels. Priya is happy, Moda is happier, Pramoda is happiest. But this is only reflected Ananda. The infinite Brahmananda alone is being reflected in these three thoughts, Priya, Moda, Pramoda. Therefore, Ananda is an independent principle, which is Brahman itself, which is Atma itself. It is reflected in the mind when these three vrittis are there. The original Ananda is infinite and is not limited by any of these three vrittis. The three vrittis are reflecting media, but they don't function as a limiting factor for the original Ananda. They are a limiting factor for the Ananda Abhasa, the reflected Ananda, but not for the original Ananda. When the vritti ends, when the RM is gone, the reflected Ananda also goes. The experienced Ananda also goes. But the original source, Ananda Brahman, doesn't go anywhere. And when the RM, the reflecting medium, is not there, the pure Ananda is not experienced. Not because it is not there, but because of the lack of a reflecting medium. Right? Therefore, na alpe sukhamasti. There is no happiness in any finite object. Whichever happiness you think that finite object gives you is actually the reflection of the original Ananda. Like the dog who bit the bone and then thought that the blood belonged to the bone when it was his own blood. And therefore he says, Bhumaiva Sukham. Sukham is there in Brahman alone, in Bhuma alone. And therefore, Bhuma Tveva Vijignyasitavya iti. Therefore, you should know Brahman. And then Narada says, Bhuman Bhagavo Vijignyaseti. Teach me about Brahman, O Lord. Now comes the very important definition. Chaturvimsha Khandha, the 24th mantra. Yatra nanyat pasyati.
यत्र
यत्र नान्यत् पश्यति
Nanyat shnoti.
नान्यत् शृणोति
Nanyat vijanati.
नान्यत्
जानाति
जानाति
Sabhuma.
Sabhoma.
स भूमा
Yatra anyat pasyati.
अथ यत्र
अथ यत्र अन्यत्
Anyat
पश्यति
pashyati.
Anyat shrunoti.
Anyat
अन्यत्
shrunoti.
शृणोति
Anyat vijaniti.
अन्यत्
Anyat
अन्यत्
vijanati.
विजानाति
Tadalpam yo vai bhuma.
Tadalpam yo
तदल्पं
vai
यो वै
bhuma.
भूमा
Tadamritam.
तदमृतं
Tadamritam.
तदमृतम्
Atha yadalpam.
Atha
अथ
yadalpam.
यदल्पम्
Tanmrityam.
Tanmatyam.
तन्मध्यम्
Sa bhagavaha.
स
Sa
भगवः
bhagavaha.
भगवः
Kasmin pratitishta.
कस्मिन्
Tasmin
तस्मिन्
pratitishta.
प्रतिष्ठितः
Iti sveva.
इति
Iti
स्वेव
इति
seva.
Mahinmi yadiva.
Mahinmi
महीयति
yadiva.
वा
Na mahinmi iti.
न
न
महिन्मीति
महिन्मीति
Mahimiti.
So this is the central mantra, the most important mantra talking about the Tatparyam Bhuma. And Yatra, in that where na anyat pashyati, what does not see anything else. Right? So there is no concept of the subject perceiver perceiving an object. So they're essentially saying na anyat pashyati means nothing else is seen, which means there is no perceiver, there is no perceived, there is no subject object duality. That is Brahman. So that is what is the first definition is that in which there is no subject object duality. That is Brahman. And here the example is no perceiver, no perceived. No drik, no drishyam. And the rest of the mantra gives more examples. Na anyat shnoti. There is nobody who is hearing something else. Na anyat vijanati. There is nobody who is knowing something else. Sabhumaha. That is called Bhuma. That is Brahman. What is the idea? As long as you see something, hear something, know something, there is duality. Because It's all a transaction. The person doing the transaction. And this is a statement which negates the duality of what? It's duality of existence is negated. And therefore, this definition of Brahman is given a technical name. Dvaita Nisheda Vakyam. That Shruti statement which negates Dvaitam. So all these Dvaita Nisheda Vakyam, duality negation statements, they are very important for us. Why? Because of two laws which we know already. What are those laws? What is existent cannot be negated. Why? Come on, guys. Why can you not negate what is existing?
Trikale tishtati iti sat. Sat is that or existence which exists in all
How
time
can we
frames.
negate what is there, what exists?
It cannot be negated for a very simple reason because it exists. Okay. Similarly, what is non existent need not be negated. Why? Because it is not existent. The very two important rules. What is existent cannot be negated. What is non existent need not be negated. Therefore, what is negated? Something which is different from existence and different from non existent, which we call Sat Asat Vilakshanam Mithya only, seemingly existent. Right? And then he says, Atha Yatra Anyat Pashyati Anyat Shnoti Anyat Vijanati Tadarpam. That in which you can see something else, hear something else, and know something else. Tad Alpam. That is only finite. And therefore, Brahman is nirvikalpaha because there are no differences in Brahman. Again, when you talk about nirvikalpaha, that I need to clarify an idea that nirvikalpa can be thought of as two ideas. One is nirvikalpa avastha and one is nirvikalpa swarupa. Okay. So nirvikalpa avastha is a state where there is no duality because the mind is resolved. So sushupti or samadhi or even death, the mind is not functional. But here Shastram doesn't discuss nirvikalpa avastha because the avastha is not relevant for a sadhaka. The nirvikalpa avastha is not a purushartha. Why? Because being an avastha, being a state, it comes and it goes. So anityatva. It cannot be a purushartha because it is not nityam. It is not even a sadhana for a purushartha. Therefore, when we say that we are going to do sadhana for purusharthas, we can have only two sadhanas for all the four purusharthas. For dharma, artha, kama, the sadhana is karma. For moksha, the sadhana is jnanam. So there are basically only two sadhanas to handle all the four purusharthas. And therefore, nirvikalpa avastha is not even a means to jnana. Why? Because we know what the means are. What are the pramanams? Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi, and Shastra. Nirvikalpa avastha is not part of that. And therefore, none of these sources of knowledge, none of these pramanams are available in Nirvikalpa avastha. Why? Because the mind is resolved. The sense organs are resolved. What is available in Nirvikalpa avastha, in Samadhi or Sushupti? A dormant mind is available, is a non-functioning mind at that avastha, and Atma is available. A non-functioning mind is not a pramana. Atma is also not a pramana. And therefore we say that Nirvikalpa avastha is not a means to jnana. Right? As Vedantics, we are interested in Nirvikalpa Swarupam alone. And how to get this Swarupam? Since Bhuma, Brahman, is always available. You don't have to get this Brahman. You don't have to attain the Brahman. What is required is that I am Brahman and to claim that. So knowledge and claiming both are required. Knowledge that you are Brahman and you have to claim that I am Brahman. So if I have to acquire Brahman Jnanam, remember I can acquire it only in Jagrata Avastha. When sense organs are functioning, mind is functioning. In Swapna Avastha, mind is only partially active. Therefore, knowledge cannot be acquired. So all knowledge has to be acquired in Jagrata Avastha, which is Savikalpaha. So he says, Yo vai bhuma tad amritam. That which is Brahman is eternal. Atha yadalpam. And the others, that anyat pashyati, anyat shrunoti, what is all that? All finite. And therefore, tan mrityam is subject to destruction. This is Sarat Kumara. Then another question. Sa bhagavaha kasmin pratitishthata. What supports that Bhuma or Lord? So he's saying everything supports. So far you have been saying something is supported by something. But now what supports this Bhuma or Lord? And then Samakumara says, Iti swe mahimni. It is supported by its own glory, supported by itself. Mahimni, own glory. Swe mahimni, supported by itself. And then Yadiva namahimni iti. So, and actually not supported by anything also. So the contradictory answer. First he says, that Brahman is supported by itself. And actually, it's not supported by anything. So there are two different answers. What do they mean? We will see in the next class. So with this, we'll stop for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much.
Acharya.